Nikki Haley, a lot of attention will be on her. She actually released her first television ad, and here's part of it.
It's time for a new generation of conservative leadership. We have to leave behind the chaos and drama of the past and strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose.
What do you make of that, Mick? Airing in Iowa, New Hampshire, it sounds like she's making the chaos argument.
And she's not using Trump's name, and that's the first time I've seen that part of the ad. But that's okay, because when she says chaos, everybody knows who she's talking about. But again, we've talked about it last night, talked about it before. Her task here is to consolidate the anti-Trump vote and get some of the MAGA voters. The MAGA voters like the chaos. And so I'm not sure how this moves anybody off of the Trump column and into her column. If she gets 40%, that'd be great, but she still loses, and you only pay one place in this business.
I don't see why she goes after MAGA voters, period. They're not going to come to her as long as Trump's in the race.
You agree with that?
Go after
100%.
all the Republicans, all the other Republicans.
She's going to have to go after the other Republicans, and she's going to have to go after independents and swing voters. She could also, if she plays her cards right, make a play for younger voters, particularly women. It is not trying to transfer Trump voters, because they think that if she's trying to attack the MAGA base, she's going to lose time and time again. That base isn't moving. They weren't moving to DeSantis when he was the closest thing to Trump a few weeks ago. They didn't move to Vivek. They're definitely not going to move to a Nikki Haley.
So you bring up Ron DeSantis. Oh, no, sorry, go.
That's why I think her campaign has been more successful than people anticipated. She didn't try to go after the Trump voters. She went after the people who wanted an alternative. And the ad is interesting and clever, I think, in a few ways. First, she makes a generational argument, which makes it applicable both to Trump and to Biden. And the other is she talks about chaos, and in more of the ad than we saw here, she talks about it on the international scene and domestically. In domestic, we know she's talking about Trump. Internationally, I think she's talking about Biden. There's Russia, Ukraine, there's Israel, Hamas, and there's the southern border. And so in many ways, I think this ad is targeting both of them without using either of their names.
I agree with both of you about the focus on the independent voters, but I'm trying to play the chess moves down the board and say, okay, if Trump's polling above 50% in New Hampshire, in Iowa, in South Carolina, head-to-head with 5 people in the race, it doesn't make any difference. If he's going to get more than 50%, you have to take some of those votes away, or else you lose. What am I missing about that?
Does that transition, because we know that the Koch network gave their endorsement in a weird, almost apology to DeSantis in the same time. But we also saw Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan step out and try to get other, financiers and other business professionals to step out in support of her as well.
Even Democrats.
And disillusioned Democrats, exactly.
Right.
I think that there is something to be said about the strength of what would be Nikki Haley candidacy at this point that is, again, not trying to pull the Trump voter, but is looking at a lot of Democrats are quite frankly upset. And if she plays
a Republican primary.
Well,
No, they're not.
No, she's got to get out the primary.
What does she do about the abortion issue? Because she's kind of played it down the middle. She's been on both sides of the argument, in my opinion. And I'll be honest with you, if she doesn't take a hard position, it's going to be hard for conservative voters to vote for her. She's gotten a pass right now, but if she grows in the polls, or if she does, she's going to have to confront that issue.
We didn't even get to talk about Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie. There is a lot going on Wednesday night for you, Miss Johnson. And then, of course, Donald Trump, as we talk about.
I've heard of him.
You've heard of him, former chief of staff. And as they all, of course, are trying to catch him.
Ron DeSantis is trying to get some chops tonight between him and Gavin Newsom. So maybe he's going to bring some of that fire or illusion to the debate.
All right, so NewsNation, as you know, the 4th debate is 6 days from now, Wednesday, December 6th. 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, University of Alabama, moderated by Elizabeth Vargas, Megyn Kelly, and Eliana Johnson. We'll see you in Alabama next week. Excited about it. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.